It was, we kept it P for a long time. So it was always behind the scenes.
I think.
Why not? Like, why not?
If you've been anywhere near social media in the past few days, you've probably caught wind of the latest drama shaking up the internet. Saucy Santana and his ex-boyfriend D have officially gone to war, and it's not just messy, it's absolutely explosive. What started as what seemed like a typical breakup has turned into one of the most jaw-dropping, scandalous feuds we've seen in recent memory. And trust me when I say this is not just another celebrity feud. It's the kind of story that makes headlines, trends on every platform, and leaves fans divided. From shocking allegations about health issues to wild accusations involving none other than Diddy himself, this saga has everything: betrayal, revenge, hidden secrets, and a whole lot of drama. Let's rewind for a second and break down exactly how we got here. Saucy Santana, known for his bold personality, unapologetic style, and no-holds-barred commentary, was in a 5-year relationship with D, a man who until recently had managed to stay largely out of the spotlight. Their romance wasn't something they kept private. Santana often spoke about their life together, shared moments on social media, and even got a tattoo dedicated to his former partner. But despite all the love and public displays of affection, things eventually came to an end, and the split left a lot of unanswered questions. At the time, nobody knew why they separated, but now, thanks to D's recent live stream, we have a front row seat to the chaos. What makes this situation even more intense is that D didn't just drop hints or make vague references. He went full nuclear, spilling some of the most shocking details imaginable. He claimed that during their entire 5-year relationship, he never actually slept with Santana because of what he described as bumps, warts, and an overall stench coming from certain areas of Santana's body. Yes, you read that right. This wasn't just a case of bad chemistry or growing apart. D made it clear that physical intimacy was non-existent between them, all because of what he called unbearable hygiene issues. If you're sitting there reading that and thinking, wait, what? You're definitely not alone, because honestly, who comes forward with something like that publicly? But D didn't stop there. Oh no, he went full steam ahead, bringing up every possible detail he could think of, including calling Santana out for having smelly veneers, which is honestly something I didn't even know was a thing until now. The man wasn't holding back. He even brought his sister into the mix, who was apparently in the background throwing shade at Santana and making comments about his family members. It was like watching a train wreck unfold in real time, except instead of feeling bad for anyone involved, everyone was just glued to their screens waiting for the next bombshell to drop. And then just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, D dropped another bomb. He claimed that Santana got those bumps and warts from messing around with none other than Diddy himself. Yep, you read that right. Suddenly, what started as a messy ex-boyfriend rant turned into a full-blown conspiracy theory involving one of the biggest names in hip-hop. Young Miami, who has her own complicated history with Diddy, was also dragged into the mix, with rumors swirling that she may have played a role in connecting Santana and Diddy in the first place. People online were already speculating about Diddy's alleged involvement in shady activities, but now they had someone actually naming names and pointing fingers directly at him. Of course, Santana didn't take these allegations lightly. He responded in true saucy fashion, firing back at D and calling him out for being a clout-chasing mess who's only trying to stay relevant by dragging his name through the mud. He reminded everyone that he was the one who supported D when he got out of jail, helping him get back on his feet without asking for anything in return. But instead of showing gratitude, D chose to go public with these disgusting claims, painting a picture of their relationship that many people found hard to believe. After all, if D really felt that way about Santana, why would he stick around for 5 whole years? And how does someone avoid sleeping with their partner for half a decade without either of them realizing something was off? The internet was quick to react, with users lining up to share their thoughts on the situation. Some were siding with D, saying that he had the guts to speak his truth, even if it was uncomfortable. Others believed that D was simply trying to distract from his own issues, especially since he still hasn't fully explained why he went to jail in the first place. And then there were those who took the opportunity to speculate even further, diving deep into the Diddy connection and wondering if there was more to this story than meets the eye. Was Santana really caught up in some kind of underground network of influence and power? Did Young Miami play a role in setting him up with Diddy? And perhaps most importantly, who exactly is telling the truth here? As the drama continued to unfold, more details emerged, and the tension between the two exes only seemed to grow stronger. Santana made it clear that he wasn't going to let D ruin his reputation without a fight, and he promised to come back swinging with even more dirt if necessary. Meanwhile, D doubled down on his statements, insisting that he had nothing to hide and that he was simply speaking from experience. The back and forth became so intense that it almost felt like watching a soap opera, except this time, the characters were real people and the stakes were much higher. What makes this situation even more fascinating is the way it reflects larger themes within celebrity culture and relationships in general. When you're in the public eye, your personal life becomes fair game for scrutiny, speculation, and sometimes outright exploitation. Exes can become weapons, used to gain attention or shift focus away from your own shortcomings. And in a world where social media reigns supreme, the line between truth and entertainment often becomes blurred beyond recognition. Is D genuinely trying to expose something he believes is important, or is he just trying to capitalize on the chaos? Is Santana truly innocent, or is there more to his story that he's choosing to keep private? These are the questions that continue to fuel the fire surrounding this saga. One thing is for sure, whether you love it or hate it, you can't look away. The combination of scandal, betrayal, and high-profile connections has created a perfect storm of controversy that shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. And as more details come to light, it's likely that this story will only continue to evolve in ways we can't even begin to predict. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and prepare yourself for what's sure to be one of the most talked about celebrity feuds of the year. Because trust me when I say, this is far from over. For 5 years, Saucy Santana and Dee were inseparable. Their relationship was the kind that made headlines, not necessarily because it was picture perfect, but because it was undeniably dramatic, passionate, and filled with enough twists to rival any reality TV show. From extravagant trips to Instagram-worthy moments, the couple constantly kept their fans entertained. They weren't shy about flaunting their bond, and for the most part, it seemed like they were thriving together. But behind closed doors, things weren't as smooth as they appeared. Now, with the dust settling after their explosive breakup, fans are left wondering how such a seemingly strong connection unraveled so spectacularly. Santana, known for his expressive nature and flair for the dramatic, was always open about his relationship. Whether it was through interviews, social media posts, or even his music, he made it clear that Dee was someone special. In fact, he even got a tattoo dedicated to his ex-partner, a symbol of commitment that suggested their love was built to last. But tattoos don't guarantee forever, and as it turns out, their 5-year journey was riddled with complications neither of them were ready to face head-on. Despite the outward appearances of happiness, cracks in the foundation of their relationship had been forming long before the breakup. There were whispers, subtle red flags, and moments of tension that fans might have missed if they weren't paying close attention. But now, with both parties finally speaking out, the truth is beginning to surface. And it's not just about heartbreak, it's about betrayal, deception, and a level of toxicity that makes their separation feel less like a simple breakup and more like an all-out war. Dee, on the other hand, was the quieter half of the duo. While Santana thrived in the spotlight, Dee preferred to stay behind the scenes, letting his actions speak louder than words. But that changed the moment he decided to air his grievances publicly. His decision to go live and spill the tea was unexpected, shocking, and frankly brutal. He didn't just hint at problems, he exposed them in the most graphic, unfiltered way possible. And in doing so, he shattered any illusions fans might have had about their relationship being anything close to normal. So how did things get to this point? How did a couple that once seemed so connected end up tearing each other apart in such a public, ruthless manner? The answer lies somewhere between emotional turmoil, unresolved issues, and a desperate need for validation. Because at the heart of this feud isn't just anger, it's pain, resentment, and a desire to be heard. And whether either of them realizes it or not, their battle is far from over. Dee's live stream was supposed to be just another casual chat session with his followers. Nothing too dramatic, nothing too revealing. But as soon as he started speaking, it became painfully clear that this was not going to be a regular broadcast. Within minutes, he launched into a scathing monologue about his past relationship with Saucy Santana, dropping bombshells so shocking that fans were left scrambling to process everything. He didn't just criticize their failed romance, he dissected it piece by piece, exposing intimate details that most people wouldn't dare share in private, let alone on a public platform. He started off by claiming that despite being in a 5-year relationship with Santana, he had never actually slept with him. At first, viewers assumed this was just hyperbole, an exaggeration meant to emphasize how toxic their dynamic had become, but Dee quickly made it clear that he was dead serious. He described specific physical attributes of Santana's body that allegedly turned him off, particularly focusing on what he referred to as bumps, warts, and an overwhelming odor emanating from certain areas. According to Dee, these issues were so severe that they completely deterred him from engaging in any form of sexual activity with his longtime partner. The revelations didn't stop there. Dee went on to describe other aspects of Santana's appearance that he found unappealing, including his dental work. He claimed that Santana's veneers were not only unattractive, but also carried an unpleasant smell, reinforcing his argument that his former lover was, in his words, a walking funk. These accusations were so bizarre and unexpected that many viewers initially thought it was a joke, until they realized just how serious Dee was. He wasn't trying to be funny, he was trying to destroy any remnants of credibility or dignity that Santana had left. To make matters worse, Dee didn't just vent his frustrations alone, he had his sister present during the live stream, and she eagerly chimed in with her own insults, further humiliating Santana. She reportedly made crude remarks about his mother and grandmother, implying that they were just as flawed as he was. The entire ordeal played out like a twisted roast session, except instead of being lighthearted and playful, it was brutally harsh and deeply personal. Fans watching the live stream were stunned. Some immediately took to social media to express their disbelief, while others speculated about whether Dee was telling the truth or simply trying to provoke a reaction. Either way, one thing was certain. This was one of the most scandalous relationship exposés ever witnessed in the digital age. When D made his shocking allegations against Saucy Santana, the internet exploded with reactions ranging from outrage to skepticism. On the surface, his claims about never sleeping with Santana due to severe hygiene issues sounded absurd. After all, how does a couple stay together for 5 years without ever consummating their relationship? But then again, D backed up his statements with disturbing details, describing specific physical conditions that supposedly repulsed him. He painted a picture of Santana as someone who not only had visible skin irregularities, but also emitted an overwhelming stench that made intimacy impossible. And if that wasn't enough, he added that even Santana's dental work was disgustingly foul-smelling, reinforcing the idea that his former partner was simply too unsanitary to touch. However, as the initial shock wore off, people began to question whether D was genuinely telling the truth or simply trying to humiliate Santana for clout. After all, airing such intimate and damaging information about an ex is not unheard of in celebrity culture, but usually there's some sort of motive behind it. Some speculated that D was seeking revenge after feeling betrayed, while others believed he was attempting to shift attention away from his own questionable behavior, particularly his recent stint in jail, which he still hadn't fully explained. If he was going to drag Santana down with him, maybe he figured he might as well do it in the most sensational way possible. Meanwhile, fans of Santana were quick to defend him, pointing out inconsistencies in D's story. For starters, if D was so disgusted by Santana's appearance and hygiene, why did he stay in a romantic relationship with him for 5 years? Why did he allow himself to be photographed with him, travel with him, and even get a matching tattoo? If the issue was truly insurmountable, wouldn't he have ended things sooner? Then there was the matter of the tattoo itself. Wasn't that a sign of deep commitment? Or was it all just for show? Others noted that D's claims contradicted previous accounts of their relationship. Multiple sources had hinted at the pair being physically affectionate, with some even suggesting they were openly intimate in private settings. If D had really avoided any sexual contact for 5 years, wouldn't there have been signs, tension, frustration, arguments? Instead, their public image remained relatively stable, with little indication that anything was wrong. This led many to believe that D's allegations were exaggerated at best and completely fabricated at worst. This measured yet forceful approach allowed Santana to regain control of the narrative, turning what could have been a devastating reputational crisis into an opportunity to showcase his resilience. Rather than wallowing in negativity, he leaned into his strengths, his charisma, his humor, and his ability to command attention, even in the face of adversity. And while the fallout from D's allegations was undeniable, Santana's response made one thing crystal clear: he wasn't going down without a fight. Before this scandal erupted, D was primarily known as a chef, an aspiring culinary artist trying to make a name for himself in a competitive industry. Unlike Saucy Santana, who thrives in the limelight, D had spent years quietly honing his craft, hoping to build a career based on skill rather than notoriety. He had dabbled in social media, sharing snippets of his cooking journey and occasional glimpses into his personal life, but for the most part, he remained in the background. That all changed the moment he decided to air his grievances about his ex in such a public, unfiltered way. Now, instead of being recognized for his talent in the kitchen, D is infamous for his brutal takedown of Santana. His name is trending across platforms, but not in the way he probably hoped. Comment sections are flooded with jokes about his sudden transformation from chef to drama queen, with many pointing out the irony of his situation. "He's supposed to be cooking," one user wrote sarcastically, echoing Santana's own jab. Another remarked, "5 years with bumpy parts and he just now decided to speak up? Sounds like sour grapes to me." The consensus among many is that D has done more damage to his own reputation than he has to Santana's. Beyond the mockery, there's also widespread speculation about why D suddenly felt the need to come forward. Some believe he's trying to salvage his relevance after falling behind professionally, while others suspect he's still reeling from the breakup and needed an outlet for his anger. Either way, his decision to go public with such explicit details has backfired in a major way. Instead of gaining sympathy, he's facing criticism for his lack of discretion, maturity, and basic decency. And while he may have intended to expose Santana, he's ended up exposing himself in ways he probably never anticipated. In the wake of the massive backlash, D finally decided to step back and reassess the situation. The flood of criticism, ridicule, and public scrutiny had reached a breaking point, forcing him to acknowledge that his words had gone too far. During a follow-up livestream, he attempted to walk back some of his more extreme allegations, admitting that he had crossed a line in his pursuit of vengeance. "Maybe I did go too below the belt," he conceded, his tone slightly softer than before, "so I do want to apologize for that." But even as he offered a semblance of remorse, he quickly followed it with a caveat. "But also apply, he went below the belt too." His apology, however, lacked the sincerity many were hoping for. Instead of fully owning up to his actions, D tried to justify them by shifting blame onto Santana. He insisted that while he regretted some of the graphic details he had shared, he couldn't be held solely responsible for the chaos. "I can't take accountability for nobody else," he stated firmly, making it clear that he still believed Santana had provoked him.
Even in his attempt to make amends, Dee couldn't resist taking another jab at his ex, proving that his bitterness hadn't faded. Still, his partial admission of fault was met with mixed reactions. Some fans appreciated his willingness to acknowledge that he had gone too far, even if his delivery was lacking. Others, however, saw his apology as nothing more than damage control, a strategic move to soften the public's perception of him before his reputation was completely ruined. After all, the internet doesn't forget easily, and the images of Dee gleefully dragging his ex through the mud had already gone viral. An apology, no matter how heartfelt, couldn't erase that.
Just when it seemed like the drama couldn't get any juicier, the conversation took a wild turn as rumors swirled about Diddy's potential involvement. Diddy's explosive allegations against Saucy Santana included a shocking claim that the supposed bumps and warts on Santana's body originated from none other than Sean Diddy Combs himself. The suggestion sent shockwaves through the online community, reigniting long-standing whispers about Diddy's rumored entanglements with various individuals in the entertainment industry. Almost overnight, fans were revisiting old theories, dissecting past events, and questioning whether there was any truth to the latest revelation. Complicating matters further was the sudden resurgence of speculation linking Young Miami to the unfolding scandal. Fans recalled her tumultuous history with Diddy, particularly the recent lawsuit that implicated her in alleged misconduct tied to the producer. With tensions already running high, the idea that she might have played a role in introducing Santana to Diddy, or even facilitated their interactions, only fueled the fire. Could it be that Young Miami had orchestrated a connection between the two men, inadvertently leading to the health issues Dee had so vividly described? The possibility, however unlikely, was enough to send fans into a frenzy. Social media became a breeding ground for theories, with users dissecting every past interaction between the three figures. Screenshots of old interviews, cryptic social media posts, and even lyrics from songs were scrutinized for hidden meanings. Some argued that Diddy had a pattern of surrounding himself with young, attractive individuals, citing past controversies as evidence. Others questioned whether Dee's claims were just a desperate attempt to deflect attention from his own missteps. Regardless of where people stood, one thing was certain: the mere mention of Diddy's name had elevated the scandal to an entirely new level, transforming it from a messy breakup into a full-blown conspiracy-laced spectacle. As the drama between Saucy Santana and his ex, Dee, continued to dominate conversations online, fans started digging deeper into Santana's past, searching for clues that might validate or debunk Dee's shocking allegations. One particular discovery quickly gained traction, a verse from one of Santana's older songs that had resurfaced and was now being interpreted in a whole new light. The track, titled "Meet Me in the Streets," originally served as a diss aimed at fellow rapper academics, but listeners were now zeroing in on a specific lyric that seemed eerily relevant to the current controversy. In the verse, Santana rapped, "Oh, I get it. You want to be a city girl. Now really you want to be in Diddy world. Give his lame a skirt. Now we going to make this man dance. He got in a D. Now we done made this man trans." At the time of its release, the line was widely seen as a metaphorical jab at academics, poking fun at his aspirations to be more flamboyant or aligned with Diddy's world. But with the new context provided by Dee's claims about Santana's alleged relationship with Diddy and the insinuation that he contracted an STD from the mogul, fans began dissecting the lyrics differently. Could this verse have been more than just a playful diss? Was Santana subtly referencing his own experiences with Diddy? The implications were immediate. Comment sections and Twitter threads lit up with theories about what the lines truly meant. Some interpreted the phrase, "he got in a D," as a coded reference to contracting an STD, specifically herpes, which is often abbreviated as HSV, herpes simplex virus, and colloquially referred to as a little d. Others believed the lyric was a nod to Diddy himself, suggesting that Santana was hinting at his association with the mogul in a way that only insiders would understand. The line, "Now we done made this man trans," was also scrutinized, with some speculating that it could be an allusion to Diddy's rumored influence over certain individuals, potentially altering their lives in ways that extended beyond music. Whether intentional or not, the renewed attention on this verse only intensified the speculation surrounding Santana's past. Fans were no longer just debating whether Dee's claims were true, they were actively searching for proof in Santana's own words, convinced that the rapper had been dropping hints all along. And as the internet continued to dissect every lyric, the story took yet another unpredictable turn. As the dust settles on this explosive scandal, the impact on Saucy Santana's public image cannot be ignored. Once known primarily for his bold personality and vibrant presence in the entertainment world, he now finds himself at the center of a whirlwind of controversy. While some fans remain fiercely loyal, defending him against what they see as baseless accusations, others are struggling to separate fact from fiction. The allegations regarding his physical appearance and potential health issues have sparked heated debates, with opinions sharply divided. Some argue that Dee's claims are nothing more than vindictive gossip, while others believe there may be a grain of truth buried beneath the theatrics. Santana's response to the situation has been nothing short of defiant. He has leaned into the chaos, using humor and sharp wit to reclaim his narrative. However, the challenge remains. How does one rebuild trust in an environment where rumors spread faster than facts? While he has taken steps to distance himself from the scandal, the lingering effects of D's accusations will undoubtedly shape public perception for some time. The internet has a short memory, but it also has a knack for resurrecting past drama when the moment is right. As for D, the fallout has been equally significant. Once a relatively unknown figure outside of his relationship with Santana, he has now become a polarizing presence in the public eye. His decision to air such deeply personal grievances has cost him dearly in terms of credibility and respect. Many view him as a bitter ex, seeking revenge rather than someone shedding light on important truths. His attempts at damage control, including a half-hearted apology, have done little to restore his reputation. Instead, he is now synonymous with messy breakups and opportunistic drama, a label that may be difficult to shake. Looking ahead, both parties must navigate the consequences of this saga carefully. For Santana, the road to recovery involves not only rebuilding his image, but also proving that he is more than the scandal that temporarily defined him. For D, the challenge is even greater. He must decide whether he wants to retreat from the spotlight or embrace his newfound notoriety, regardless of the cost. Either way, one thing is certain: this story is far from over, and the repercussions will continue to unfold in unexpected ways.